Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrive Time Show, starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zillner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
Mr. Clyde started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
All right, Drive Nation, on today's show, we're talking about management. And I think a lot of people get hung up on management. There's even management classes you can take in college. There's management classes you as a listener may have already taken. But at the end of the day, management is the ability to get your team to deliver results to your customers with a spirit of excellence and over delivery while being on time and on budget. This is what management is all about. And so I'm going to go to Rihanna here. You are working your way up. You're getting promoted. You're doing a great job. You're working in the stores. As a manager, now that you have cameras installed, and I'm speaking very vague, I'm not looking for specific people. When you look at the cameras, have you noticed that when you see employees on camera, have you discovered any startling realizations now that you can actually see what's going on in the stores?
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
And what kind of things have you noticed now that we're able to look at cameras and see? Because again, somebody listened to our show today. Their employees are telling them, "Boss, I am swamped. I am overwhelmed. I am overworked. I can't keep up." And it happens with every restaurant I work with. Every single time I work with a restaurant, once they put the cameras up, they discover that their overworked, super busy team is usually not super busy. And it's usually like 1 or 2 key employees are getting most things done. And then a lot of people are hiding out in the break room and doing weird stuff. Have you seen any of that or not so much? Or what are you seeing?
Yeah, I definitely have. Definitely noticing how the employees love to over-exaggerate a little bit.
A little bit. Now, you did cheerleading, is that correct?
Correct, yes.
And so when you did cheerleading, I'm sure you would watch film of your performance and you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, could have done that better. Okay, that was good, or whatever that is, but it helps to see the footage. Why does it, as an athlete, help when you see video footage of yourself performing?
It really helps you realize where you're able to improve, what you need to kind of tweak, and how to make yourself better.
Okay. So Amelia, now you happen to manage a team at the Elephant in the Room, the haircut chain. And every day you have a checklist. What kind of checklists do you have every single day at the Elephant in the Room?
We have bathroom cleaning checklist. We have checklist for doing laundry. We have checklist for cleaning shampoo room, the bowls. And we have a front desk checklist. And we also have an assistant manager checklist and a manager checklist.
Why is there a checklist for everything?
Because if there's not, nothing will get done.
Like, what would be something that could be easy to forget to do if you didn't have a checklist?
It would be easy to forget to do laundry. It would be easy to forget to sweep.
And there's a book we're going to talk about on part 2 of today's show called Checklist Manifesto. And it's a book based on a Harvard case study. And they found that doctors were forgetting to give patients the right medication, AKA giving them the wrong medication. So, you're a patient going in for a surgery and you're allergic to a certain thing. And people were literally dying at scale at hospitals all across the country if they didn't use a checklist. Like, pilots are crashing planes and people are dying because checklists are not used. And I'd like to ask you this, Rihanna. Why do you think doctors and pilots would be killing people and even themselves when they could just make a checklist. Why is that?
People just wanting to cut corners, make their job easier.
What do you think, Amelia?
I agree.
They just don't want to, they want to cut corners. What I found is when I'm working with a lot of clients, either A, they don't know they should have a checklist for everything. And I think because the education system teaches you're supposed to memorize everything. So I think that people think, okay, if I'm a good boss, I'm going to have all this stuff memorized. I see restaurants, I know it sounds crazy, but restaurants that operate without written down recipes. It's wild. Could you imagine going to work for a restaurant? There's no recipes.
No.
Have you ever been to the Olive Garden? Have you been to the Olive Garden, Amelia?
Yes.
Okay. Have you noticed that most of the people that cook the food are not Italian?
Correct.
How is that possible?
Recipes.
Yes. And so again, if you're out there listening today and you're trying to manage a group of people, I want to ask you this question. How would you rate your ability to manage your team on a scale of 1 to 10? And I'm just trying to help you do it today. I'm walking you through practical systems and steps. And I brought on 2 of our managers today just so that they can share their experiences. So action item number 1, you want to create a checklist for everything. Action item number 2, this is so important that we do this. You got to install GPS on all work vehicles. You have to do it on all work vehicles. Now, Rihanna, why do you think you'd want to have a global positioning system tracker that tells you where your employees are driving if they have corporate vehicles?
That way you can compensate them for their time and their miles, and that way you know they're going where they need to without making any extra stops.
Now, Amelia, every time I've worked with a business and they put GPS on their vehicles, their work vehicles for the first time, what do you think they find the first time they install GPS on the work vehicles?
They find a lot of extracurricular activities and illegal behavior.
Yes. It's crazy. I won't be weird but I just want to tell you this as an example. I used to work with a pharmaceutical company, and the pharmaceutical, this is before I knew about what I know about. This is before I knew what I now know about pharmaceutical, but I was working with this company, and the owner of the business was telling me his sales guys were not hitting their sales goals. And I said, okay, great. Let's put GPS on the work vehicles. And he found out that his employees were going everywhere except for work during the day. Why? Because people, if they think there's no accountability, they'll do anything. You also have to install call recording, okay? And I recommend use clarityvoice.com. You can use whatever company you want to use, but that's the company I use. Rihanna, how does having call recording help you do your job at Elephant in the Room?
Oh, it helps me so much. And when it comes to making my performance better and just how I sound, how I'm responding to things, it really helps me figure out what I'm doing good and what I could improve on.
And I find too, it helps me as a boss or what I do during the day is I'll randomly log in and I'll play some of your guys' calls, and I can hear and I go, you're sounding good. So I can say, that sounds good. That's sounding bad. That's sounding good. Way to go here. And I can give people improvement or feedback. And then every Tuesday we have a staff meeting where we listen to those calls, and it really, really helps to improve, help people become better at their jobs if you have call recording. But again, Amelia, by default, why don't most business owners have GPS on their vehicles? And why don't most business owners have Clarity Voice installed or a call recording system?
They probably don't know that they need to.
I would agree. Now, this is a big one. Install video recording in your business. Now, this is wild. I know it's shocking, but I've been self-employed since I was 16 years old. So we're talking 23 years of being self-employed. And I have been robbed at least 20 times, where like somebody has stolen something from me. So and why is it that every time, Amelia, that we find out who it is, it's always an employee? Why is that?
That's a good question.
Why do you think that is, Rihanna? Why is it that every time I've ever been robbed so far, it's been an employee?
They already know what they want to take, and they know they have access to it.
Right. And when I pull up the video, it's like, boom, there they are. And it just, but again, it's not shocking at this point. A quick correction. I've been self-employed for 27 years. So it's really important that everybody has the mindset that like, you've got to install video recording. You've got to install the call recording. You got to install the GPS. You got to have checklists. Now, every employee has to have a key performance indicator. Now, last week, Rihanna, you guys did a phenomenal job in the call center, and you guys got a hold of over 100 people that we hadn't seen in 90 days or more. So we had at the haircut business, Elephant in the Room, EITRlounge.com. You guys reached 100 customers that we haven't seen in over 90 days and invited them in for their next haircut. And you guys booked 100 customers that we hadn't seen in over, this is over 90 days. That was an awesome number. How are you guys doing this week? How's the numbers looking this week?
We're doing really, really good this week as well. We've had a couple of employees that have been able to book several each day. So we're doing very good this
Do you
week.
think you'll hit 100 again this week?
I think we can. Yeah, absolutely.
And again, that's a number that I track. Amelia, in the stores, your job is to get objective Google reviews from happy customers. How many Google reviews do you have this week?
Currently, I'm at 13, I believe.
And what's wild to me is that I find this top employees over time know their numbers, and employees that are not doing a good job don't know their numbers. But why does the owner, if you're the owner of a company, Amelia, why would you have to know the numbers?
You have to know the numbers so you can track.
Did you play sports, Amelia?
I played one season of softball, but I also cheered.
Okay, and so you did cheer. Did you play, Rihanna, any sports that were like baseball or softball, basketball, anything like that?
Not since middle school, no.
Well, when you played middle school, what sport did you play in middle school?
I played softball.
Softball. Okay. So the theory behind the sporting events like softball, basketball, baseball is you track the score so you know who wins or not. In business, you've got to track the score. But most business owners don't track the numbers. I want to ask you, Amelia, why is it that most business owners don't have a key performance indicator for every employee where they don't have a way they're tracking the performance of all the employees? Why?
They don't know how.
There it is. Yeah. And that's the kind of stuff we teach our clients. Now, next thing is when you hire people, you have to hire people. This is my worldview. You hire people. You want to hire people that are inspired. That's my worldview that I have. You don't have to share that worldview, but I like to hire people that already are motivated, just in general. And then my job is to train and retain and to promote these sorts of things. So I like to train people and help retain and help them have a career path where they can move up. But have you ever had the thought, Amelia, there's certain people that always seem unaware that the Monday morning meeting is going to happen on Monday?
100%.
Have you had that thought?
Most of them, yes.
And have you had the thought of like, why is it that there's certain people that can't seem to figure out when to be on time, like what time it is?
Yes.
Have you had these thoughts?
Every day.
I mean, honestly, do you have those thoughts in your brain where you're like, how is that possible?
Every day.
Yeah. And see, and I have found this isn't a life. This isn't like a rule. I mean, through the power of Christ, anyone can change. I just find that most people change very rarely. And so the reason why you two are managers is because you don't need micromanaging. But the people that need micromanaging need managers, right?
Yeah.
So then the question is, if you're managing your staff and they start to say stuff like, you're micromanaging me, and all you're doing is following up saying in the store, are the towels clean? Are the towels clean? There are certain people, you know this, Amelia, every time you ask them, are the towels clean? They're going to roll their eyes. But if you don't ask them, are they going to clean the towels?
No.
And we have a rule, you're not supposed to be on your cell phone or your smartphone during the workday.
Correct.
And there are certain people that they always hop on their phone during the day.
Oh, this is a huge issue we've had in the shop this past week.
And then they go, well, what if my kid calls? Does this happen?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Verbatim this week.
What if my kid calls? They put it and they make it a moral dilemma.
Right.
What if my kid calls? You have no idea what it's, and this is in the hair business. It's in the construction business. This is in the home building business, the mortgage business, any business that exists. When you have to manage people, the people that need management are going to be pissed. They're going to be mad. And Rihanna, I know you were born closer to yesterday than me, but why is it that the guy or the gal in class when you were going to school or college or whatever, why is it that the guy who's late gets mad when the teacher points out he's late? Why is it?
They don't like being called out for when they're in the wrong.
But they are in the wrong.
Yeah.
So if you as a manager, you're kind of like the referee. I want people to understand this. You're like the referee. So your job is to go, I really appreciate you. And I'm sure you're a hardworking person, but you shot the basketball. It did not go in. I'm not giving you 2 points. And they're going to go, yeah, but you don't understand how hard I've been working. And you're like, but it didn't go in. And that's why nobody at the end of the game goes, oh, great job, referee. Thank you, ref. No one does it. And that's why as a manager or as a business owner, you've got to understand the idea that you're only trying to perform for an audience of one. And I really do believe this. I believe that as long as you believe that God is proud of the way you're managing, then you're fine. But you do not get approval from the employees. They're not going to be happy with your management skills. They're not. It's just not going to happen. Let me give you an example. Proverbs 10:4 from the Bible, a book in favor of verbs. Proverbs 10:4 from the Bible. It says, God blesses the hand of the diligent and punishes the hand of a slackard. Now, Another translation, King James, he becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. This is a biblical concept. This is not God being mean. This is just the rules. Now, if that mindset is carried out, the Bible also says if you don't work, this is in the Bible now, if you don't work, you don't eat. Now, again, I did not write the Bible. I had no influence in writing the Bible. I'm not somebody who's selectively pulling things out of the Bible just because they're exciting to me. These are like very fundamental values that made America work. It made it work. You know, the idea that it says here, this is from 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 10 through 13. It says, this is big. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat. For if we hear that there are some which walk among you disorderly, working not at all, but are busybodies. That's where the phrase busybodies come from. They're people that are doing nothing and are talking about something all the time. And if you don't manage, what's going to happen, Amelia? If you go back into the store and you go, guys, I understand that you don't want me to micromanage you. So I've decided to not ask you to stay off your phone. What's going to happen?
They're going to sit in the laundry room and play Candy Crush
All day.
all day.
And if you don't follow up with them about the towels all the time, what's going to happen?
The towels are going to be piled up and nothing's going to get done.
And if you don't say, hey, we've got a walk-in that just walked in for their haircut, let's get them in, they're going to do what?
I'm not doing that
And that's what they say.
all day.
All day. And I think a lot of people, their number one goal is to be liked. And that's why they struggle to manage people. You know, now I grew up as a kid. I used to stutter as a kid, couldn't talk very well at all till about age 12. So for me, I've never really cared about what people think. That's never been a big thing on my priority list. But I know for a lot of people, that's maybe they do want to be liked. But if you have a desire if that's your number one goal is to be liked, it's just not going to work for you as a manager. Amelia, anything else you want to add on? Because you do a great job managing people, but I think there's somebody out there listening right now who's struggling to manage people. Any pro tip that you would like to give?
I've always had a hard time with prioritizing being liked, but through this job as being a manager, I've learned that that's got to be at the bottom of your list or it won't work.
Now, again, you don't have to take that mindset into like your family settings. You don't have to run around going, Grandpa, clean up the living room. I mean, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this is a position at work. You're an authority position. You are a manager. Imagine if the police officers lowered their standards to not give anyone a ticket. I mean, it would be Sodom and Gomorrah out there.
Right.
Rihanna, anything else that you've kind of learned here as a manager? You're learning a lot of things. Anything that you would like to share to anybody out there who's listening right now, who's maybe never been a manager before?
Yeah, so it's definitely one of those things. If a management position is what you're looking for, it's going to take a lot more keeping people accountable and even yourself accountable to really succeed.
Amen to that. Now, on part 2 of today's show, we're going to break down a book called The Checklist Manifesto, which is written by a Harvard professor by the name of Atul Gawande. And he breaks down how bad things can be and how your business will actually break down if you don't use checklists and tight management. So that's on part 2 of today's show. Then on part 3 of today's show, we're going to share with you a success story about a longtime client who is absolutely thriving. So without any further ado, we're going to end this part of the show with a boom, because the word boom, or the idea of boom, stands for big, overwhelming, optimistic momentum. And that is what's required to make your business successful. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom.
Boom.
Attend the world's best business workshop led by America's #1 business coach for free by subscribing on iTunes and leaving us an objective review. Claim your tickets by emailing us proof that you did it and your contact information to info@thrivetimeshow.com.
All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the Thrive Time Show on your radio. And today we're talking about a very serious subject in the game of business that very few people think about at all. It's like a super serious, game-changing, probably business-destroying concept if you don't adhere to this idea, this proven system, is if you don't have a checklist for everything, everything falls apart. So I'm going to give you an example. There is a book, I want to make sure we put this on the show notes here. It is called The Checklist Manifesto. So I want to make sure we put this on the show notes. We'll put a link to the Checklist Manifesto so you can buy it on Amazon if you would like to. If you haven't read the book, you absolutely. I think that when you read probably half of the book, even a third of the book, you would say to yourself, "Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I've been trying to run a business without checklists." What happens is, the Checklist Manifesto was a book written by an author by the name of Atul Gawande. He's an American surgeon over at Harvard University. Harvard. He's sort of a big deal. And he decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to travel around the world to hospitals, and I'm going to find out what percentage of the deaths that are occurring are happening as a result of somebody not using a checklist. That's what I'm going to do. And so as he went from hospital to hospital, he found, Chup, that in certain hospitals, one third
Jeez.
of the people that died as a result of somebody not using a basic checklist. Now, do you want to hear the big 3 reasons why people died?
I don't, but I will listen because it freaks me out.
Okay. One is that the doctor did not read your chart and gave you a pain medication. Like if they have to knock you out, if you have to go to sleep when they have the surgery.
Anesthesiologist, is that what it's called?
Right.
Yeah.
If they give you the wrong medication that you're allergic to, you will die. That's one.
That's real. That is real.
That is real.
That's real right there.
The second is they forgot to wash their own hands. So they, as a doctor, had an infection that they put into your body because they opened up your flesh.
Okay, homie. You don't want to wash. You don't want to wash while you're eating. That's up to you. But you gotta wash your. I think it's a whole thing, scrubbing in, right?
Right.
How do they forget that?
A third is they forgot to wash the patient's skin. So what he said is he wrote down his findings, and I would like for you, Chup, to read his findings. But read his first notable quotable. Read it nice and slow so we can soak in, because this is we're talking about deaths that are occurring in hospitals, planes that are crashing in the world of small business, small aircraft, personal people are dying as a result of their small aircraft crashing as a result of not doing ongoing maintenance. We're talking about small business owners dropping the ball and ruining the foundation on homes because they forgot to follow a checklist. Right. We're talking about companies going bankrupt because they forgot to invoice somebody. We're talking about people getting in trouble with the Unemployment Commission for forgetting to withhold taxes. Chup, there's got to be something really going on when people are refusing to use a checklist. There's got to be something deep going on. What does Atul Gawande have to say about it?
Atul has to say, we don't like checklists. They can be painstaking.
Oh, come on.
They're not much fun. But I don't think the issue here is mere laziness.
I think it is, but let's let Atul continue.
Okay. There's something deeper, more visceral going on when people walk away not only from saving lives, but from making money. Okay. It somehow feels beneath us to use a checklist, an embarrassment. It runs counter to deeply held beliefs about how the truly great among us, those we aspire to be, handle situations of high stakes and complexity. The truly great are daring. They improvise. They do not have protocols and checklists. Maybe our idea of heroism needs updating.
I would just say this, that if you are refusing to use a checklist, in the Bible, it reads, God blesses the hands of the diligent, right? Proverbs 10:4. I want to put that on the show notes there, Chup, so we can see Proverbs 10:4, because a lot of people don't, maybe they're a Christian, but they haven't really delved into the book of Proverbs. But I'm going to read you Proverbs 10:4, the King James version. And Chup, I'd like to put the King James version on there because I feel like this one it resonates it always motivates me to use a checklist. I whenever I feel the need to not use the checklist, I decide to read Proverbs 10:4, the King James version, and it always motivates me. It says,
resonators,
it says, he becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. Again, he becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. What it's saying is, if you refuse to use a checklist, you deserve to be poor. This is the Chup. If you refuse to use a checklist, you deserve to lose.
What is going to happen no matter what? Okay, I see this a lot. I saw this in my own family with the concrete company that we had. My dad intrinsically knew everything and would not forget anything ever because he did it every day for 35 years. Well, guess what happens when he's not in charge of every crew that we have going out anymore because we've grown beyond that capacity? The guys that have been doing these jobs for 15, 20 years forget key essential pieces of equipment like a rod board that you use to strike off the concrete when you're pouring it. And therefore, we lose $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 worth of concrete and productivity because of one simple thing of not using a checklist to make sure you have all of the equipment.
Now, 1 Timothy 5:8, which was also in that controversial book called the Bible, this verse is pretty terrible for people that are slackers. And Chubb, I actually texted this to a guy the other day.
Ooh.
You know why I did it?
You needed to.
Because he was like absolutely criticizing. He was criticizing a client of ours. It was hilarious. This guy was criticizing a client of ours for being so intense.
Come on.
He's like, all you care about is getting stuff done. So the client's telling me, the client says, I have a vendor that's criticizing me for wanting tight deadlines. And he was criticizing me, saying it's not all about the money. It's not all about the money. Okay, there's more to life than just the money. You need to calm down. And I said, send him this text message. And if you send him this text message, I promise you won't get a response. Or if you do, it'll be kind of over. Chubb, can you read 1 Timothy 5:8?
Anyone who does not provide for their relatives, and especially for their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever.
So I want you to think about this. In the Bible, it says that if you accept Christ as your Lord and Savior, you get to go to heaven, correct?
Correct.
And so it says that if you don't, then God will judge you and you basically get to go to hell if God judges that you should go to hell, right?
Right.
So it's saying here that you're worse. Like this means that you go to a hell that's extra hot.
It's the basement of hell.
If you choose not to provide for your family. He says, anyone, 1 Timothy 5:8, I'm not paraphrasing, I'm reading it word for word. Anyone who does not provide for their relatives, and especially for their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. So I would just encourage you, I honestly do not use checklists because I'm motivated to. It's because I don't want to literally go to hell. I literally do not want to go to hell. It seems like you have some insecurity problems. Absolutely. I don't want to not provide for my family and screw up. So I use checklists. If you don't want to use a checklist, there's something psychologically wrong with you. You've got to use checklists. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Thrive Time Show on Talk Radio 1170.
It's a drive time show on the radio. Yes, it is. Oh, yeah. It's all about you. 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 Yeah. So we bring the boom.
All right, Thrive Nation, what we're talking about today is the importance of creating a checklist for everything in your life.
Everything.
And in your business. I've got a lot of notable quotables to read to you and a lot of facts, a lot of data, but I have one thing I would encourage all of our listeners to do. I would encourage all of our listeners to buy the book Checklist Manifesto and read the first half of the book at least, and just see after reading the first half of the book if there's any way possible that you are not going to use checklists moving forward. Because this is what happens is, Atul Gawande, he is he's very well-known American surgeon. He's a guy who works with Harvard. He's their professor of surgery at Harvard University, okay? And he was noticing, Chubb, that a lot of people were dying in hospitals. And he thought, I'm sure it's a result of, just people dying. There's some things you can't solve. There's surgeries that just don't go well. You just can't win all the time.
It's part of the game.
So he thought, what I'm going to do? I'm going to go in there and I'm going to investigate thousands of people at some of the biggest hospitals in the world, thousands of doctors. I'm going to just study the causes of death. And they found that 1/3 of all of the deaths that were occurring were happening as a result of a doctor, a surgeon, choosing not to use a checklist.
Come on.
And you know what the 3 things they were missing were?
Let's
if you're
hear
just
it.
tuning in.
Freak me
One
out.
is
Go
they
ahead.
said
Freak me out. Do
they
it.
didn't read your chart ahead of time.
Almost happened to me.
So they actually removed like the wrong part of the body. They amputated the wrong leg, had surgery on the wrong knee.
That's what happened to me. That's what happened to me. Yep. They almost, I tore my left ACL in high school, and I went in to have surgery at 15 years old, and they're giving me the anesthesia, and I look down, and they're shaving my right leg.
No.
And I'm going, no. No. And they look at the chart.
Oh.
Switch over. So
I'm telling you.
They took out a Sharpie and put a big X on my right knee to say, this is not the one.
Jeez.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And I know many people in my life. I have one person in my family who they gave them the wrong anesthesia.
Yeah.
Almost killed them.
Yeah.
Can
easily happen.
I know that my grandfather died as a result of them skipping the checklist at the VA hospital. He was in perfect health. He went in for knee surgery, and they forgot to give him something, and he died. And they apologized.
Well, yeah, thanks.
We got an American flag because he served in the military.
Cool.
They said, "Hey, we're sorry." They said, "Hey, we did our best." I mean, I remember.
No, you didn't.
So again, now maybe that's not motivating enough. So please read the notable quotable again at the top of the show notes from Atul Gawande.
So he says, we don't like checklists. They can be painstaking. They're not much fun. But I don't think the issue.
Who the hell cares?
Right.
When have we decided to have fun or not?
Right.
This is absolutely ridiculous.
You know what else isn't fun?
What?
A lot of things at work.
I think it's so ridiculous. I see so many business owners that are absolutely putting their life in the crapper as a result of not using a freaking checklist. Use a checklist. Continue.
Okay. Ooh, passion. It got me, scared me there for a minute.
Sorry.
I was looking
Sorry.
the other way. Ooh.
Sorry.
Ooh, okay.
Back.
But he continues to say, but I don't think the issue here is mere laziness. Clay might disagree. There's something deeper, more visceral going on when people walk away, not only from saving lives, but from making money.
It's called you being an ass. Back to you.
Right. It somehow feels beneath us to use a checklist and embarrassment. It runs counter to
Because you're an idiot. Continue.
It runs counter to deeply held beliefs about how the truly great among us, those who we aspire to be, handle situations of high stakes and complexity. The truly great are daring. They improvise. They do not have protocols and checklists. But, he says, maybe our idea of heroism needs updating.
And the Bible piles on, though. The Bible, Proverbs 10:4 says, he becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. Slack meaning a slacker, meaning you're choosing to slack. You're choosing to not do what you're supposed to do. You see, the word diligence means the consistent application of effort. And if you refuse to follow a checklist after you know the importance of doing it, there is a problem with you. And the cool deal, here's the deal. This is so cool. This is so cool. This part is so cool.
Like
this
the
is
other side of the pillow, my babies.
this is cool. Because what happens is, if I'm competing with you and you're not using a checklist and I am, you see, I get to take all the money. Because, you see, you get to be poor. It's actually a universal law that God created. And
No checklist equals checkmate. It's over,
you see,
baby.
You don't sow the seeds, but I do. I get a harvest and you don't. And 1 Timothy 5:8 reads, anyone who does not provide for their relatives, and especially for their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. Is that from the Bible? What verse was that again? 1 Timothy 5:8. Why are you saying it so slow? Because I want you to look it up. 1 Timothy 5:8. Anyone who does not provide for their relatives, especially for their household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. Chup, we have another notable quotable from Atul Gawande. Please read on.
All right, he says, there are good checklists and bad, Borman explained. Bad checklists are vague and imprecise. They are too long, they're hard to use, and they're impractical. They are made by desk jockeys with no awareness of the situations in which they are to be deployed. They treat the people using the tools as dumb and try to spell out every single step. They turn people's brains off rather than turn them on. Now, he says, on the other hand, a good checklist are precise. They are efficient, to the point, and easy to use even in the most difficult situations. They do not try to spell out everything. A checklist cannot fly a plane. I want to repeat that. A checklist cannot fly a plane. Instead, they provide reminders of only the most critical and important steps, the ones that even the highly skilled professionals using them could miss. Good checklists are, above all, practical.
This is the thing. A lot of people say, my line of work, though, baby, it is so complex.
There's so much stuff
that I can't possibly use a checklist. I'm a genius, man. I went to school for so long. Chuck, but Atul Gawande chimes in. What does he say here?
He says, it is common to misconceive how checklists function in complex lines of work.
Ooh.
They are not comprehensive how-to guides,
Yes.
whether for building a skyscraper or getting a plane out of trouble. They are quick and simple tools aimed to buttress the skills of expert professionals. And by remaining swift and usable and resolutely modest, they are saving thousands upon thousands of lives.
So
Come
these are the checklists that you need to make with your business coach. You need to create the daily opening the business checklist, a checklist for opening your business. These are the things that need to happen every day to open the business.
Unlock the door. Turn on the lights.
Now here are the checklists for closing the day of business.
Lock the door. Turn off the lights.
These are all, but you have to do it because if not, people will forget a step.
Yes, every time.
And then you have to create move number 3. Remember, move number 1, create a daily checklist for opening the business. Move number 2, create the daily checklist for closing the business. Move number 3, create the daily checklist for marketing activities. Create the daily marketing activities checklist. Chuck, why do you have to create a checklist for your marketing activities?
So you don't forget to do it?
Like putting out the signs in front of the store.
Call the leads.
Call the leads.
is kind of important. Yeah.
Chuck, what's the next action item we all need to take?
Create the weekly team training agenda checklist.
And then the final checklist.
Create the checklist for when and what you need to do for your accounting.
Create the checklist for when and what?
You need to do your accounting.
So you got to do that. Now, if you do that, my babies, you're going to have a lot of success. I'm telling you, if you do that, my babies, we're all going to have some success. We're all going to be blessed. We're all going to make a lot of money. We're all going to be great. Once you know what to do, but you choose not to do it, there's a bigger problem there.
Right. And one thing I've seen a lot is the previous quote that we read, the one right before, was that on the business owners a lot of time, if you're not training your team up enough to understand the protocols and the processes, writing out some crazy 27-page checklist is not going to help them. It's going to put them off even more. So you've got to take time, schedule time to create the checklist and get 2% better. Always making them better.
If you refuse to embrace the power of a checklist, you're just going to lose.
True.
And if you're somebody who is secular in nature and you don't like Bible quotes that would yell at you, or I feel like I have to be the mouthpiece of the Bible today, then you just read the Checklist Manifesto and you can read about all the people dying all around the world, planes crashing, things messing up as a result of bridges collapsing as a result of people not using checklists. Or if you prefer to go to the Bible as your source of wisdom, Proverbs 10:4 says, "He becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand and refusing to use the checklist F's." No, it says, "He becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich." Also, the Bible chimes in to say, 1 Timothy 5:8, "Anyone who does not provide for the relatives, and especially for their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever." Thrive Nation, we want to help you. But we can't help you unless we get a chance to know you. Go to thrivetimeshow.com today, and there you're going to find all of the archive podcasts, a place where you can book your tickets to the next in-person Thrive Time Show workshop. You find the one-on-one business coaching and a video library with thousands and thousands of video versions of these podcasts and other trainings with celebrities and millionaire mentors. So you can learn from mentors and not mistakes.
Oh, yes.
And now without any further ado, we like to end the show with a 3 and a 2 and a 1. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom.
Attend the world's best business workshop led by America's #1 business coach for free by subscribing on iTunes and leaving us an objective review. Claim your tickets by emailing us proof that you did it and your contact information to info@thrivetimeshow.com.
All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the conversation. It is the Thrive Time Show on your podcast download. Now, we've talked on previous podcasts about the importance of making a wow experience for each and every client. But what I see all the time, Marshall, is I see clients that they personally can wow their customers through their own personality, through their own demeanor, through their own aura, but they don't have a system in place that allows their team to wow people. So what we want to do is, now that you've created a wow moment for your client, you want to create a wow checklist so that you're wowing your customers systematically, whether you are personally working with the customer or not. So walk me through how to make a checklist to wow each and every customer.
Well, because physicians went to 9 years of medical school, they probably don't need checklists. And because pilots have logged hundreds of hours of flying, they probably don't need checklists either. Right.
Because they've been to a lot of school. They've
been to a lot of school.
They're past that.
Don't hold me accountable. I do it right every single time.
But then what happened was a guy by the name of Atul Gawande in 2008, he teamed up with the World Health Organization, and they agreed to work together to bring checklists to 8 hospitals around the world. And during the 6 months that they insisted on the use of checklists, deaths fell by 47%.
Deaths?
Deaths.
He reduced the amount of deaths by 47%.
And post-surgical complications dropped by 36%. He went on to report in his book called The Checklist Manifesto that the volume and complexity of what we know has now exceeded our individual ability to deliver its benefits correctly, safely, and reliably. So, Marshall, it's almost impossible even for surgeons to execute succinctly, correctly, and accurately without a checklist.
Well, here's the deal. If you are God's gift to wowing, okay, whether it's you're a contractor, whether it is that you provide a service, or maybe you're even selling a product, and your product is the best product in the world at whatever it is that it does.
Around the world,
If you do not have a
around.
checklist for that wow, you're always going to be the one that is the slave to your business. You are going to work for your business. Your business is not going to work for you.
Another example, Reid Hoffman. This is the guy who founded LinkedIn, one of the part of the original team, the PayPal Mafia, as it's called, who helped start PayPal. That would be Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and the group. He says, if your idea is a little better or a little faster, that doesn't mean anything. The competitive differentiators that matter are 10 times greater. If your idea doesn't offer that, then you shouldn't. Or then you should. He says if your idea doesn't offer that 10 times greater experience, you should be really paranoid that's not a good one. Otherwise, it won't drive adoption. People trying it out.
I'm going to go off on
by
this
customers,
one.
Most especially, or investors or employees. He's saying, Marshall, you got to wow people.
Oh, my gosh. So I talk to business owners all day about this. I ask them, what is your value differentiation? What is it that you do differently in order to create a product or a service that people want? They go, well, I'm just a little bit better at customer service.
Just a little bit.
My quality is just a little bit better. I am
just a little bit.
My communication's a little bit better.
I teamed up with 50 Cent. It's just a little bit.
This is what Reid Hoffman is saying, is if you are not 10 times better, not just 1 unit better, but 10 times better than your
10
competition,
times better,
then it is not a value differentator. It is not a wow. You should not be doing business.
But shh. Just let it happen. Chuck, I want him to zip it. Because Atul Gawande, the best-selling author of Checklist Manifesto, he says, we don't like checklists. They can be painstaking. For those of you listening, I have a live turkey in the studio. That's the sound. We don't like checklists. They can be painstaking. They're not much fun. But I don't think the issue here is mere laziness. There's something deeper, more visceral going on. When people walk away not only from saving lives, this is a guy who is a professor at the Harvard Medical School. He says when people are walking away from not only saving lives, but from making money, it feels somehow beneath us to use a checklist, an embarrassment. It runs counter to the deeply held beliefs about how the truly great among us, those we aspire to be, handle situations of high stakes and complexity. The truly great are daring. They improvise. They don't stick to checklists and protocols. Maybe our idea of heroicism needs updating. He goes on. He writes this book, Checklist Manifesto Will Set You Free. He says, we brought a 2-minute checklist into the operating room in 8 hospitals. I worked with a team of folks that included Boeing Airlines, the people who make the airplanes, Boeing, to show us how they do it. And we just made sure that the checklist had some basic things. Make sure the blood is available, antibiotics are there, how did it work. We got better results You understand they decreased the amount of deaths in the hospital by 47% just using a checklist. So now let's talk about wowing customers. I'm going to give you an example, Marshall, and I want you to help me implement it. I remember I had the epiphany to wow my customers at DJ Connection when I read a book called Think and Grow Rich. It was rekindled, that idea was rekindled when I read the book called Raving Fans, which so many people have read. So what I did is after the wedding, I wrote down on a piece of paper, I said, what I want to do is I want to send the bride a CD of all of the songs he played at her wedding, which turned out to be illegal, but it was a thing. And I wanted to give them an Outback gift certificate, and I wanted to send them a handwritten note. And I told the team, guys, after the wedding, I want you to write the bride a handwritten note, provide a CD of all the songs. I've already have a guy working that night. He'll just give it to you, put it in an envelope, right? It'll be nice with have a cover printed on the CD with their name on it. You send that out. You sign the thank you card, and you send out the Outback gift card. You put it in the envelope, boom. Marshall, what do you think the issue was with implementing that with 80 disc jockeys?
Well, if you're going to send a thank you note and you're leaving it up to the DJs.
Do you remember this happening?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, my gosh.
If you leave it up to them as to what to say in that note, it is going to be just like your phone answering script.
Now, I'm not.
Hey, thanks.
Listen, I'm not. I am not exaggerating. The DJs, when we looked at it, we looked at the note.
Yeah.
They wrote on some of them. I'm not kidding. I'm going to give you some of the quotables.
I remember this.
One bride, I got a complaint. She said the DJ was awesome. And the letter he wrote her, he said, you looked so hot on the night of your wedding, but you looked hotter on the night before when you were at that rehearsal. I mean, you are hot. I mean, he's so lucky. You are just hot. And he goes on about how hot she is. And that was his thank you card.
That's the customer wow.
Did he sign it with his number at the bottom?
So, okay. So again, Marshall, when you have it, you have to make a checklist for what to say.
Right. So I'm going to break this down, and this is the concept this is what everybody needs to understand. You must manage the strategy.
Oh, come on now.
And delegate the execution.
Oh, say it again.
Manage the strategy and delegate the execution.
So you can't hire somebody to make your strategy for you.
That is right. And so this is what we did with DJ. And I remember this. You said you can either write A or you can write B.
Right.
Okay. This is template A or this is template B. And
dude, then we asked him to mail it. We asked him to write the address on the envelope. And a lot of the guys couldn't write on an envelope.
Most people couldn't write letters.
I bet you 50% of the disc jockeys could not address an envelope.
They're like, where do I put it? These are real things.
These are college graduates.
So
it was a good job, TU. Good job, ORU. We had a lot of ORU graduates. I'm not kidding. That could not write legibly.
What hand do I hold the pen in?
Just crazy. So Napoleon Hill writes, render more service than you are paid for, and eventually you'll be paid more for less services rendered. So you want to wow them. I get it. So I'm going to walk you through some ample examples that are very hard to execute until you get it. Once you get it, it's easy. Okay, here we go. I must gather a review from every client. Can we say that's a move we want to do? We want to gather a review from every client?
Yeah, check
Got to do it.
So let's do a Google search right now, Chup, for carpet cleaning quotes, because I want to see how many reviews I have today. For OxyFresh. I want you to know. I want to know how many reviews do I have today.
I checked earlier.
I just talked to John today. He's headed off on a trip to celebrate his wife's birthday. I just want to know how many reviews does my main man Jonathan Barnett have today?
126,812.
And we are top in the world for the phrase carpet cleaning quotes today. So what I want to do is I'm going to pull it up on the big screen here so you guys can all see it. So if you go to spyfoo.com, this is a free tool that you can check out that allows you to see the original web traffic that a website gets per day, per week, per month, whatever. Right now, we are getting 203,000 website visitors to the website for the first time.
That's a couple.
As a result of those reviews. So this is how you do it, though. After the carpet's cleaned, the technician has to say, were you happy with the service? And they say, I think so. And they say, hey, well, let me walk you through. I want to do a walk through the house with you so you can look at the carpet we cleaned and see if you're happy. And if you are, I'd just like to get your feedback. So you walk through, they do an inspection, and the customer, typically a woman, will say, yeah, I liked it. It was nice. I appreciate you cleaning my house. They say, well, hey, would you like me to take X number of dollars off the bill? And then right there they say, well, yeah. They say, well, cool. If you could leave me a Google review or a Facebook review, I could do that for you. Just leave me an objective review. That's how you do it. But there's got to be a penalty if somebody doesn't get the review. So another example would be a real estate agent I worked with. We did a free pizza on the moving day. So if somebody bought a house, we did a free pizza. We would deliver when the people are moving. You move in your house and you're trying to get everything in that U-Haul. You get a free pizza delivered. What was the hard part about executing that, Marshall?
You got to make sure that they do it.
Right. People would forget every time. I'm not kidding. There's one lady who would say, what are your tips for remembering? I'm like, listen, we're going to close a house every day, every other day, probably three a week. When the house closes, you're not going to get paid your commission until you order the pizza. Oh, okay, well, that just doesn't seem very nice. No, it's cool because if you forget to deliver the pizza, I'll forget to pay you.
Whoops.
Oh, done. Problem solved. Okay, so handwritten note, we talked about that. Again, what about sending a thank you video to every customer?
It's incredible.
It's a
sending
move.
a welcome video.
That's over-delivering on your over-delivery.
I have one of my clients, every time he goes out and does a bid, he brings fresh cookies. Okay.
Oh, come on now.
And so they're like, you're here to quote me and you brought cookies? Okay, well, first
take my money. Take my money.
We'll take a good hard look at it.
Now, I want to make sure you're getting this. If you're a contractor and you're out there trying to get business, you're saying your guy brings free cookies, free fresh-baked cookies as part of the quoting process.
Yeah.
He doesn't bring an ambiguous van filled with candy.
No. Or just like melted ice cream.
I just want to make sure it's not a tip. People are like, that's good. I should write that down. I'm going to get a brown van and offer candy to
If you
strangers.
just come in the van here, I'll give you your quote. It's right in my mobile office right here.
Okay, so again, we're putting ample examples on the show notes where you can see the thank you videos that the billion-dollar company Warby Parker actually sends out. So when you actually buy a pair of glasses from Warby Parker, they've been known to send thank you videos. You've got to create a wow checklist. Now, Marshall, on the show notes, do we not have an example of how to make a wow checklist?
You got to have a wow checklist. You got to have a downloadable. You got to have these things to hold your team accountable to doing it every time.
Chup, what are we talking about next, my man? I'm pretty excited. What are we talking about next?
We're going to get into buying life insurance and why that's
take
important.
the room down a notch. Buying life insurance.
Boo.
Because you're alive. That's why.
And then we're going to list
Right back
out
up.
all of the items on the periodic table slowly.
And then I'm going to
But
scrub
with
my
gusto.
eye.
But with gusto.
Stay tuned. It's the Thrive Time Show on your radio. See, I'm more than just a rhymer, like a horse with blinders. Focused on the Thrive Time Show, it's where you find us. He be the Z and I be the C. Teaching business skills from A to Z. We both grew up poor, but we're poor no more. The goal of this show is to help you score. I couldn't see the light until my son could see, but I learned to rock the mic in the high school scene. A young DJ with a $1 billion dream, numb to the pain that rejection brings. So I like a sod farmer sweating. Well, Thrive Nation, we have an opportunity all the time. We have so many wonderful people that go to thrivetimeshow.com and they reach out to us to schedule a 13-point assessment. We also have a lot of people that go to thrivetimeshow.com and they schedule a free 13-point assessment, and they're not a good fit because I only work with diligent doers. I only work with people that are willing to actually implement the proven systems that Dr. Zellner and I both teach and implement in our own companies. So people say, I do want to grow my business 7 times faster. I do want to reduce my working hours. I do want to increase my time freedom and my profits. I think we're all in agreement that that's a good thing. However, we can only help people that are willing to put the work in. And on today's show, we're joined by a man by the name of Ronnie Morales. His company is moralesbrothers.net. I hold him in high regard because he and his family-owned business, they actually are growing. I would call it dramatically. When you look at this, Inc. magazine right now shows that 96% of businesses fail. Inc. magazine says 96% of businesses fail. That's not good. Whereas this guy's business isn't growing by 10%. It isn't growing by 20%. It is growing dramatically. But again, if Ronnie Morales had filled out the form and had scheduled a consultation and wasn't willing to actually implement what we were teaching, it would all be for naught. So I'm excited for you to meet somebody who I would consider to be a diligent doer. He's based in Richmond, Texas. And now, without any further ado, Ronnie Morales, welcome onto the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks, Clay.
Hey, so how did you first hear about us? How did you hear about the Thrive Time Show?
I listened to your Thrive Time Show podcast for those 7 years, and I was learning so much. I was like, man, I got to give this guy a try.
So you listened to our podcast 7 years ago?
Yeah.
Really?
7 years.
Do you remember the first podcast you listened to 7 years ago?
I don't. I don't remember. I listen to so many of them.
Okay. Okay.
I still listen to, more than once.
Now, when you're listening to the podcast, I try to feature clients on the show so that there's real people really doing it, really implementing the systems. When did it occur to you that you might want to, go ahead and fill out the form at thrivetimeshow.com and schedule a consultation?
I got to the point to where I just needed to take the next step. And I've been in coaching before, like group coaching and different things like that. But I just felt like everybody on your show was making tremendous changes in their business. And coming from you and Dr. Z, I felt like y'all had the experience. And it didn't matter if it was, because I've been used to doing construction, like peer groups and construction coaching, where it's contractors only. Well, I felt like, you know what, I need somebody business minded to help me grow this. I don't necessarily need a group of just contractors. I need somebody that knows the business part of it.
And what kind of growth have you had since you began working with us, as far as a percentage? Do you know a percentage or what kind of growth?
Yeah, so we had about a 57% increase from last year's first quarter to this year's first quarter. So that was huge for us. And personal growth too. I honestly, just as a business leader and team member here in my company, I've grown a lot to be a better leader, learn how to delegate better, learn how to get these 15-minute huddles started every morning. And it's just been great. I'm just continue to learn, and I can't wait to keep moving forward.
Well, people always ask me, they say, what's the most important part of business consulting? And that would be, to me, like asking a baker, what's the most important ingredient in a cookie? I mean, is it the flour? Is it the sugar? Is it the eggs? I would say if you take out any one of those core ingredients, you're going to have a weird tasting cookie. So in our business consulting, we focus on marketing, branding, sales, hiring, leadership, management, accounting, all of those things. So let's kind of go through the process from just a branding perspective and a marketing perspective. How has the business consulting impacted your company?
No, it's been great. The branding, the marketing. I mean, people around town are telling us, "Hey, I've seen your trucks here and there. I see you all over the place." When people are searching Google or whatever it is, they're finding our videos and they're reaching out to us. I think one of the biggest parts with business coaching for me has been the accountability. Like just having somebody to tell me, like, "Hey, get this, and this done, and have it done by this day," and we move on to the next step. So it's been great.
Now we have a weekly meeting. The purpose of a weekly meeting is so that you have a week to get your homework done. We have a week to do our homework. I mean, we do photography, videography, web development, search engine optimization, and you and I meet on Saturdays at 6:30 a.m. I find a lot of my clients like to meet in the mornings. How important is it to have that weekly meeting? Because I'm 42, but when I was 21, I was hiring business consulting programs that would do quarterly meetings or oftentimes even monthly meetings. And I found that nothing got done. How important is it for you to have a weekly meeting?
I think it's very important as a business owner to have that weekly accountability to make sure you're staying on schedule. Because as a business owner, you wear so many hats. It makes it difficult to get the important things done that you need to get done, but that you want to put on the back burner. But when you have somebody to be accountable to, and it's a weekly thing, and they're steadily putting in your ear, like, you got to get these things done. Get the reviews. Get the video testimonials. It just makes it to where you have an assignment and they just get it done.
Now, at the business conferences, we walk people through the entire system. This is the system we teach from. This is from my newest book called A Millionaire's Guide to Becoming Sustainably Rich, which everyone can download for free right now at thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire. You and I, we track the numbers every week. So box number 1, we establish those revenue goals. We do that. We know the break-even numbers. We know how many hours you're willing to work. This is crazy. You're married. Your wife loves you. You love your wife. I'm not ever advocating during our coaching meetings, like, forsake your family and grow your company. Can you talk about that, how important it is to work with maybe a coach that understands that you want to have a healthy family and a healthy company?
Oh, I think it's very important. Like yesterday, I had a good dinner with my wife, and we had a good evening with live music and really enjoyed each other's company. I took my kids camping twice this month already for 4 days, and we're enjoying the summer. But I think it's very important that as a business owner, as you put the hours in, put the hard work in, but you also take the time to spend with friends and family. I mean, it's important. Rising up early to get in my meditation time is very important to me too. So I think just, again, having somebody that knows the value of these things is important.
Yeah, as we go through, I mean, you are knocking it out with the marketing and the branding and all the things we have to do to optimize your website and make the ads work. We've determined your unique value proposition. We've improved the branding. We have a three-legged marketing stool. We know how to generate leads online and offline and referrals. The sales process, and I'm not picking on you, but I mean this, you're like a super humble guy. So I feel like that the sales process was something that once you learned the proven process, you kind of took to it right away. But I think a lot of contractors don't want to come across as too aggressive or too passive or too whatever. And I feel like the sales process of your team really doing a good job of calling all the leads, and the calls are recorded for quality assurance. I feel like that's been a big needle mover for you. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I had my own way before I joined your team. I had my own way of sales, and what I thought was working really wasn't working. And at first I put up a wall, but once I was opened up to the why you do it the certain ways you do it, it really opened up more ways to be more successful. With the call scripts, with the recorded calls, we're still tweaking scripts and things like that, but it's like an ongoing process. But it's been great, and I think that it has helped us a lot. We call our leads back right away, within hours, a few hours, most of the time, and it's just important. And we've gotten a lot of leads, and where I needed to hire my first sales employee.
And now we're working on more of the systems, creating these repeatable systems and managing a larger group of people in that daily huddle. Can you talk? I hammer all my clients that it's so important to have a daily huddle with your team, to huddle with your team every morning and to have a weekly staff meeting. Could you talk about the importance of implementing these human resource strategies for managing people and what impact that's had for your company?
Yeah, so the impact of daily huddles have had for my company is that it brought the team together. All of our employees, which is 17 of us full time, it's brought us all together to where we get to see each other in the mornings and grow together. We start off with some wins, keep it brief. We go over company updates. Then we go over all our projects, and we ask how's that client doing? Is the project on schedule? But what it did, it helped us a lot with the daily interruptions with, hey, so what's going on here? And these questions that could be answered in the morning. So they learn to answer these important questions in the morning so that there's less interruption throughout the day.
Now, the final two areas I wanted to cover here is, there's so much to growing a company, and that's what we talk about on our weekly coaching calls. But building a sustainable and repetitive weekly schedule, like every week we're doing the group interview. Every week we're gathering objective reviews from clients. Every week we're gathering before and after images. Every week you're gathering testimonials from your happy clients. You have to do this stuff every week. It's like a garden. You got to pull the weeds every week. Could you talk about the importance of having these human resource systems in place where you do these systems every week, so it's proactive as opposed to reactive, doing these same things over and over?
Yeah, I think it's important to do it every week and repeat them so that things don't fall through the cracks. And if you get too relaxed on not doing it, or you go 2 or 3 weeks without listening to recorded calls or whatever it may be, you start to slack off a little bit. The next thing you know, you're in trouble. And now you're putting out another fire that wouldn't have been there if you would have been on track and keeping up with the systems and processes. So just doing it repeatedly helps with building that system. Everybody knows it's this day at this time. Our morning huddles are every day from 7:07, last 15 minutes. And everybody knows to be there. And it's just been great.
Now, final two questions for you. People out there that maybe want to do business with you, they're hearing about you. Again, it's very hard to gather objective Google reviews if people don't like you. It's very hard to gather video testimonials if people don't like the work you do. What's your website, and how do people, go ahead and get a hold of you if they're looking to hire you guys for maybe a big project?
Yeah, so our website is moralesbrothers.net, and you can definitely just fill out our get in touch form to reach out to us. And I personally will actually be in touch with you and have a conversation with you.
And for anybody out there that's contemplating coming to one of our workshops or scheduling a free 13-point assessment, what word of encouragement or what advice would you have for anybody out there?
Well, I would say don't wait any longer. Jump in, because if I would have jumped in 7 years ago, I would have been in a whole different place today. So
I guarantee you would be. I'll say this though, and I'm not prophetic. I'm saying you're on pace. You're on pace to have a business that's going to be about 5 times larger than what it was when I first met you. And I say that because With the first thing you see is the leads coming in, and you start to see new teammates joining your team, and you're building that foundation for success. And I totally see you guys going to a great place right now. So I wish I would have met you earlier. That's my only complaint. But that's Ronnie Morales. Ronnie, I really appreciate you. I'll give you the final word. What do you want to say to everybody out there that's maybe contemplating taking their business to the next level?
Like I said, guys, don't wait any longer. Reach out to Clay and the team, do your assessment, and be a diligent doer.
Amen to that. Ronnie Morales, take care, sir. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
The number of new customers that we've had is up 411% over last year. We are Jared and Jennifer Johnson. We own Platinum Pest and Lawn and are located in Owasso, Oklahoma. And we have been working with Thrive for business coaching for almost a year now.
Yeah. So what we want to do is we want to share some wins with you guys that we've had by working with Thrive. First of all, we're on the top page of Google now. Okay. I just want to let you know what type of accomplishment this is. Our competition, Orkin, Terminex, they're both $1.3 billion companies. They both have 2,000 to 3,000 pages of content attached to their website. So to basically go from virtually non-existent on Google to up on the top page is really saying something. But that's come by being diligent to the systems that Thrive has, by being consistent and diligent on doing podcasts and staying on top of those podcasts to really help with getting up on with their listing and our ranking there with Google.
And also we've been trying to get Google reviews, asking our customers for reviews. And now we're the highest rated and most reviewed pest and lawn company in the Tulsa area. And that's really helped with our conversion rate. And the number of new customers that we've had is up 411% over last year.
Wait, say that again. How much are we up?
411%.
Okay, so 411% we're up with our new customers. Amazing.
Right. So not only do we have more customers calling in, we're able to close those deals at a much higher rate than we were before. Right now, our closing rate is about 85%, and that's largely due to, first of all, like our Google reviews that we've gotten people really see that our customers are happy, but also we have a script that we follow. And so when customers call in, they get all the information that they need. That script has been refined time and time again. It wasn't a one and done deal. It was a system that we followed with Thrive in the refining process, and that has obviously the 411% shows that system works.
Yeah. So here's a big one for you. So last week alone, our booking percentage was 91%. We actually booked more deals, more new customers last year than we did the first 5 months. Or I'm sorry, we booked more deals last week than we did the first 5 months of last year from before we worked with Thrive. So again, we booked more deals last week than the first 5 months of last year. And it's incredible. But the reason why we have that success is by implementing the systems that Thrive has taught us and helped us out with.
Some of those systems that we've implemented are group interviews. That way we've really been able to come up with a really great team. We've created and implemented checklists. That way everything gets done and it gets done right. It creates accountability. We're able to make sure that everything gets done properly, both out in the field and also in our office. And also doing the podcast, like Jared had mentioned, that has really, really contributed to our success. But that, like I said, the diligence and consistency in doing those and that system has really, really been a big blessing in our lives. And also, it's really shown that we've gotten the success from following those systems.
Yeah. So before working with Thrive, we were basically stuck. Really no new growth with our business. And we were in a rut and we didn't know.
The last 3 years, our customer base had pretty much stayed the same. We weren't shrinking, but we weren't really growing either.
Yeah, and so we didn't really know where to go, what to do, how to get out of this rut that we're in. But Thrive helped us with that. They implemented those systems. They taught us those systems. They taught us the knowledge that we needed in order to succeed. Now it's been a grind. Absolutely, it's been a grind this last year. But we're getting those fruits from that hard work and the diligent effort that we're able to put into it. So again, we were in a rut. Thrive helped us get out of that rut. And if you're thinking about working with Thrive, quit thinking about it and just do it. Do the action, and you'll get the results. It will take hard work and discipline, but that's what it's going to take in order to really succeed. So we just want to give a big shout out to Thrive, a big thank you out there to Thrive. We wouldn't be where we're at now without their help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Moore. I'm a pediatric dentist. Through our new digital marketing plan, we have seen a marked increase in the number of new patients that we're seeing every month, year over year. One month, for example, we went from 110 new patients the previous year to over 180 new patients in the same month. And overall, our average is running about 40 to 42% increase month over month, year over year. The group of people required to implement our new digital marketing plan is immense, starting with a business coach, videographers, photographers, web designers. Back when I graduated dental school in 1985, nobody advertised. The only marketing that was ethically allowed in everybody's eyes was mouth-to-mouth marketing. By choosing to use the services, you're choosing to use a proven turnkey marketing and coaching system that will grow your practice and get you the results that you're looking for. I went to the University of Oklahoma College of Dentistry, graduated in 1983, and then I did my pediatric dental residency at Baylor College of Dentistry from 1983 to 1985.
Hello, my name is Charles Kolaw with Kolaw Fitness. Today I want to tell you a little bit about Clay Clark and how I know Clay Clark. Clay Clark has been my business coach since 2017. He's helped us grow from 2 locations to now 6 locations. We're planning to do 7 locations in 7 years and then franchise. And Clay has done a great job of helping us navigate anything that has to do with like running the business, building the systems, the checklists, the workflows, the audits, how to navigate lease agreements, how to buy property, how to work with brokers and builders. This guy is just amazing. He's this kind of guy has worked in every single industry. He's written books with like Lee Crockrell, head of Disney, with the 40,000 cast members. He's friends with like Mike Lindell. He does Reawaken America tours where he does these tours all across the country where 10,000 or more people show up to some of these tours. On the day-to-day, he does anywhere from about 160 companies. He's at the top. He has a team of business coaches, videographers, and graphic designers and web developers, and they run 160 companies every single week. So think of this guy with a team of business coaches running 160 companies. So in the weekly, he's running 160 companies. Every 6 to 8 weeks, he's doing Reawaken America tours. Every 6 to 8 weeks, he's also doing business conferences where 200 people show up, and he teaches people a 13-step proven system that he's done and worked with billionaires, helping them grow their companies. So I've seen guys from startups go from startup to being multimillionaires, teaching people how to get time freedom and financial freedom through the system. Critical thinking, document creation, putting it into organizing everything in their head to building it into a franchisable, scalable business. Like one of his businesses has like 500 franchises. That's just one of the companies or brands that he works with. So amazing guy, Elon Musk kind of like smart guy. He kind of comes off sometimes as socially awkward, but he's so brilliant and he's taught me so much. When I say that, like Clay is like, he doesn't care what people think when you're talking to him. He cares about where you're going in your life and where he can get you to go. And that's what I like most about him. He's like a good coach. A coach isn't just making you feel good all the time. A coach is actually helping you get to the best you. And Clay has been an amazing business coach. Through the course of that, we became friends. I was really most impressed with him is when I was shadowing him one time. We went into a business deal and listened to it. I got to shadow and listen to it. And when we walked out, I knew that he could make millions on the deal. And they were super excited about working with him. And he told me, he's like, I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to turn it down because he knew it was going to harm the common good of people in the long run. And the guy's integrity just really wowed me. It brought tears to my eyes to see that this guy, his highest desire was to do what's right. And anyways, just an amazing man. So anyways, impacted me a lot. He's helped navigate anytime I've got nervous or worried about how to run the company or, navigating competition and an economy that's like, I remember we got closed down for 3 months. He helped us navigate on how to stay open, how to get back open, how to just survive through all the COVID shutdowns, lockdowns.
I'm Rachel with Tip Top Canine, and we just want to give a huge thank you to Clay and Vanessa Clark.
Hey guys, I'm Ryan with Tip Top Canine. Just want to say a big thank you to Thrive 15. Thank you to Make Your Life Epic. We love you guys, we appreciate you, and really just appreciate how far you've taken us. This is our old house, right? This is where we used to live a few years ago. This is our old neighborhood. As you can see, it's nice, right? So this is my old van and our old school marketing, and this is our old team. And by team, I mean it's me and another guy.
This is our new house with our new neighborhood. This is our new van with our new marketing, and this is our new team. We went from 4 to 14, and I took this beautiful photo. We worked with several different business coaches in the past, and they were all about helping Ryan sell better and just teaching sales, which is awesome, but Ryan is a really great salesman. So we didn't need that. We needed somebody to help us get everything that was in his head out into systems, into manuals and scripts, and actually build a team. So now that we have systems in place, we've gone from 1 to 10 locations in only a year.
In October 2016, we grossed 13 grand for the whole month. Right now it's 2018, the month of October. It's only the 22nd. We've already grossed a little over 50 grand for the whole month, and we still have time to go. We're just thankful for you, thankful for Thrive and your mentorship, and we're really thankful that you guys have helped us to grow a business that we run now instead of the business running us. Just thank you times 1,000.
The Thrive Time Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the highest and most reviewed business workshops on the planet.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.